Hi, welcome to this week's video. This is actually my second attempt at doing this because somehow the first time I did it I didn't save the video. I'm really not terribly good with technology, but we'll see how this one goes. So welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sally and I'm a former pharmacist, so I've got a lot of genuine scientific medical knowledge. But I've moved from pharmacy towards holistic therapies, and over the past almost decade, in fact more than a decade, I have become trained and qualified in a number of holistic therapies, all of which I've got certificates, so if you ever want to check my qualifications I'll be very happy to show you my certificates. But I'm a Reiki master teacher. I am also trained in Indian head massage. I can't really do that across the internet though. I'm trained in hypnotherapy and life coaching. And the last two therapies I trained in were Tai Chi Qigong and mindfulness. Now, this channel is called Accessible Wellbeing for All, or my name on social media, whichever social media platform you've seen this on, is Accessible Wellbeing for All, because that encompasses what I'm about. I want to bring well-being techniques to everybody, regardless of how much money they've got to pay to attend classes or, you know, have one-to-one sessions, and regardless of how much time they have available. I'm aiming my therapies at anyone who has a physical disability, who can't move very much, anyone who is a carer, anyone with a chronic illness, and anyone who really doesn't have the money to spare to pay for any form of therapy. And probably quite a lot of those overlap because, you know, actually evidence shows that poverty is the biggest cause of ill health, and it can become a vicious cycle that because you're living in poverty, you don't have the money to adopt the techniques or the eating habits or the exercise habits that would help improve your health and well-being. So my techniques, I hope, can help break that vicious cycle a little bit. Now, while there is a lot to be said for, you know, spending 20-30 minutes a day doing meditation or Tai Chi Qigong, the key thing is that you do a little bit every day. And even if all you do is start off doing 1 minute a day, as long as you're consistent about it, it's amazing how much even a small change like that can lead in the end to very big differences. So never think that you have to do a lot. Doing something, even a small amount of something, is better than nothing. Now, what I want to talk about today is the breath. This was prompted by a request I had at a session I did yesterday, and someone said, "Can we focus on breathing, please?" And I thought, yes, that's actually pretty crucial because the two techniques I demonstrate most on here are Tai Chi Qigong and mindfulness, and both of those have breath and how you're breathing at their heart. In Tai Chi, the goal is to coordinate breath, body and intention to make the move in the way that works best for your body. And in mindfulness, the breath is often used as a focus to bring your attention back to what's happening in this moment. Now, if you want to know why that's helpful, look at last week's video about why mindfulness helps. So, breathing. Most of the time it's something that we don't think about, we do it automatically, and generally the only time we think about it is when it doesn't seem to be working properly. If you've had a chest infection or a cold, or if you've got asthma or COPD, you will know that when your breath isn't right, it can affect absolutely everything. For any long COVID sufferers out there, we know that breathing techniques can really help alleviate some of the symptoms of long COVID. Breathing right might seem a simple thing to do, but it's actually very easy to get into bad habits. Now, I'm not a physiotherapist. I'm not trained to teach people how to breathe. So I'm not going to attempt to do that. What I do want to talk about is how fundamental your breath is to your body and to your mind. And I want to take you through one very simple breathing technique that we know is really useful in relief of stress and anxiety. I've often said that the simplest stress management technique, bar none, is simply take a deep breath in. It works on so many levels. Because you're focusing on taking a deep breath in, you're bringing your mind inwards, you're not focusing on the things that are causing you stress. And the simple act of taking that deep breath can change your body's physiology. It can give a chance for all the stress chemicals to just fade away, to be absorbed by the body, so that you feel a little bit more relaxed. Now, breathing at its heart is simply to get oxygen into your body and to get carbon dioxide out. And the oxygen goes into your lungs and gets carried round your body by from the lungs by the heart and the blood vessels to every cell in the body. And it goes round, delivers oxygen, picks up carbon dioxide, and when the blood gets back to the lungs, you breathe out, and you breathe out the carbon dioxide that you don't need. But there is a very close link in Chinese philosophy and indeed in the Chinese language between energy, breath and spirit. And my favourite technique, Tai Chi, Qigong, Qi, yes, it means energy. And Qigong is energy work. But Qi can also be translated as breath or spirit. And so with Qigong, you're working your energy, you're working your breath, and you're working your spirit, which shows how vital your breath is to keep your body healthy. And it's also vital to keep your mind healthy, because of all the organs in your body, your breath is the one that needs most oxygen. If you have a heart attack or you stop breathing, you can be revived, but how well you recover depends on how long the oxygen supply to your brain was cut off. So your breath and your oxygen is crucial to how you think, how you act, how you feel. So getting breathing right is important. Now in Qigong, there are some moves that are about pulling energy in. There are other moves that are about getting stale energy out. And just as your breath gets stale air out, if you do Qigong, go to any of my videos and you will sometimes hear me say, imagine that you're breathing out through your fingertips or breathing out through your palm. That will be about releasing stale energy from your body, stale Qi that no longer serves you. And your Qi can become polluted by what you eat, how you think, by what you choose to read and look at, and also by how you breathe, by the air that you breathe. So this all fits together. Breathing is very, very crucial. And what I'd like to go over now is a very simple breathing technique. It's called box breathing, which the name will become obvious, which is really good if you're anxious or stressed or a bit panicky. And it's very simple. You breathe in for a count of 4. You hold your breath for a count of 4. You breathe out for a count of 4 and then hold your breath again for a count of 4. It's fairly simple to see why it's called box breathing. So, if you want to try the technique but you're not in a place where you can do it now, don't worry. Listen to the rest of the video and you can try the technique later, and just look out for my Namaste sign. So, if you're going to the technique now, just get yourself comfortable. And in any way that's comfortable for you, breathe in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, breathe out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. And just relax and breathe normally. Excuse me. In case you're wondering, no, it's not Pepsi, it's homemade kombucha. So, how's your breathing now? Checking in with your breathing can be a really, really useful way to actually check in on how your mind is and how your body is. You know that if you're a bit stressed and panicky, you'll probably be panting and breathing rather shallowly. And you will know that if you're really relaxed and calm, your breathing is probably really long, slow, deep, calm and really relaxed. So how your breath is can give you a good window on how you're feeling, how your body is, how your mind is. And this isn't really that surprising when you consider all the metaphors that we have that use breath. If you're really busy and someone asks you to do something, you might say, oh, look, just let me catch your breath first before I move on to that. If you've been working too hard, we talk about being out of breath. If something is truly beautiful and awe-inspiring, you might say it takes your breath away. And all these relate to states of mind as well as states of body. And the link between your breath and your mind and your emotions and how you're feeling is one that is very complex. And I'm not even going to try and explain it, but it's very real. And you probably know that on one level. Breathing properly. I always say when you do meditations with me, just breathe in a way that's natural for you. There is no correct way to breathe. And that's true. Because if you're breathing, you're getting oxygen in, the oxygen's going around your body, blah, 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 blah. If you're getting enough oxygen in, that's fine. That's all your breath needs to do. But the body is designed for you to breathe in and out through your nose. So just take a few breaths and do you breathe in through your nose? If you find that you can't breathe in properly through your nose and you need to breathe through your mouth. That could be a signal that there's something wrong with your nose. So, there again, being mindful of how you breathe gives you important information. What I'd like you to focus on for the moment is all the movement that you feel when you're breathing. So just however is comfortable for you, just breathe. And I want you to notice what sort of movements you feel and where you feel it. And there's all sorts of movements you might feel. You might feel air moving in and out of your nose or mouth. You might be aware of air moving up and down your throat. You might be aware of various muscles moving. Maybe muscles in your chest, maybe muscles in your abdomen, maybe muscles in your shoulders. But the one place where you should feel movement is in your belly. So just put your hand over your belly button and just breathe. Can you feel a small amount of movement there? If you can, fine. If you don't, then it could be that you're not breathing right. And if you've got chronic fatigue, let's go back to what breath does. Breath gets oxygen around your body, and it's the oxygen that enables your energy to be released. I'm simplifying that massively, but you really don't want a biochemistry lesson from me. So if you're not breathing right, so you're not getting enough oxygen in your body, you're probably not releasing carbon dioxide efficiently from your body. And guess what? You're going to feel tired. And I'm a member of a long COVID support group. And one of the girls there said she'd been told she was breathing wrong and had been given breathing support. And if you've got long COVID and look for what's out there, you will find a whole podcast that's dedicated just to breathing for long COVID sufferers. There is a huge link. But it makes sense. Your body and your brain need energy, especially your brain need energy to function properly. Although food gives you energy, oxygen is necessary to get that energy working properly and released properly. The oxygen is necessary to perform certain chemical functions in your cells to release the energy or to store the energy. And if you're not getting enough oxygen in, those processes aren't happening efficiently, and guess what? You're going to feel tired. So breath really is crucial for everything that you do. Now I repeat, I'm not a physiotherapist. I'm not going to sit here and diagnose your breathing. But what I am going to say is your breath can be a huge indicator to exactly how things are working in your body, how well things are working in your body, how well things are working in your mind. And while your breath will carry on without you, actively trying to control it for a short time can lead to improvements in how you breathe, can lead to improvements in how your body feels, and can most definitely lead to improvements in how you feel emotionally. Because the simplest breath management technique, bar none, is quite simply this: take a deep breath. And that works for all sorts of reasons. If you want to know why, again, go back to last week's video about why mindfulness helps. Now, breathing is a huge part of what I do, whether I'm doing Qigong or whether I'm doing mindfulness. In meditations, I will often suggest that you focus on your breathing. But I know some people have got breathing problems. I have asthma. You know, if you've got a really nasty cold or a chest infection, you know that your breath feels like as rich a commodity, as rare a commodity as gold and diamonds, because you can't breathe properly. and you give anything to breathe properly. And when you can't breathe properly, your breathing will tend to speed up because you're trying to get the oxygen in, and that can lead to you feeling a bit panicky and a bit anxious. But if you're a bit panicky and a bit anxious for other reasons, actively trying to control your breathing and slow it down by taking 1 or 2 deep breaths, doing it quite gently, can really help. So what I hope you've taken from today is that there is no right or wrong way to breathe. There are better ways to breathe, but if you're, as long as you're getting enough oxygen into your body and are reasonably healthy, don't worry. If you have a chronic problem and have got chronic fatigue, or if you're extremely anxious and your breath is reflecting that, then doing breathing exercises like the box breath, the one that we did earlier, which is a very simple one to do, can be helpful. And if you don't do anything else, you can just sit still for a minute and just focus on your breathing, just count your breaths, not trying to change anything. Just sit for a minute and focus on your breathing, and that can make a huge difference. Anyway, I hope you found this useful. And if I've said anything that's really intrigued you and you want to know more, ask a question. If I've said something and thinking, I'd like a one-to-one with her, I'm very happy to do one-to-one sessions by video. And all I ask is that you make a donation of whatever you can afford, but a minimum donation of £1 UK, please. So feel free to ask any questions. And as I say, if you want a one-to-one session, whether it's mindfulness, hypnotherapy, a bit of life coaching, or, a Qigong, bit of Tai Chi one-to-one, I'm very happy to do so. Thank you for watching. Thank you for wanting to look after yourself, and whoever or wherever you are. I know that you matter, and I want you to know that you matter. Namaste.